Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Kalista ADC. She has a few options in terms of the keystone, but with most AD carries you're always inevitably ending up in the precision tree. She does have the option of Hella Blades though, unique to her. I don't think Hella Blades is particularly like the best, but it does have its utility. With Hella Blades you gain 110% attack speed when you attack an enemy champion for the next 3 attacks, and it's only on a 4-second cooldown, but once those 3 attacks are spent, then that's effectively the whole use of your keystone. This, with Hella Blades, whenever you run it, you get put in the domination tree, and you effectively just get a lot of laning tools from this. And those are okay, and Kalista is a pretty unique champion, and especially in solo queue, you're going to be able to kind of just cheese out lower rated opponents that aren't used to playing against Kalista, especially if you have such a rune setup where you have so much of like this immediate laning power from levels like 1 to 6, but you effectively don't need it, and you just get outscaled really quickly, even if you are like a kill up on the enemy ADC because of their rune choices. As yes, like Hella Blades is going to help you weave in auto attacks in the laning phase. Taste of Blood is going to put you at a higher amount of HP than you otherwise would be at in the laning phase. And Eyeball Collection is going to give you AD for kills and assist. And then Ravenous Hunter is going to heal you for a percentage dealt by your abilities. Your abilities, not your auto attacks. So that's basically just your Q and your E. That's really all you got going for you with Ravenous Hunter. So you're effectively healing like 100 damage across like a really good all-in with Ravenous Hunter. So you really do give up a lot from the precision tree to get the laning tools in this, and I don't see it being that wildly useful. If you were to run this, I suppose you would still go in the precision tree secondary with probably attack speed and coup de grace, as you'd be looking to still get the attack speed and then still have more damage to targets that are lower. But yeah, that's why I don't see the value in that, as leading down the domination tree for AD carry is super low value. Even though Kalista can utilize Hella Blades, it gets so drastically outscaled by all the other precision keystones. And missing out on the minor runes in precision is also, it just feels kind of bad. And if you are running domination with precision secondary, you can't get into the sorcery tree. So there's a lot of problems with it in terms of just scaling. But if you do get a lead early, and then you can transition that into items, it can make sense. But that being said, it puts a big onus on you to get a lead in every single game you play, in every single lane you play, or else you're just inevitably like behind from the get-go because you ran this rune tree. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that sense, but Kalista can use it. The keystone that I'm going to recommend is Lethal Tempo. Kalista's only other real option is potentially like Press the Attack. The problem I have with Press the Attack with Kalista is that a lot of Kalista's mobility relies on her attack speed compared to other AD carries, and she also kind of either starts a fight or disengages a fight with her ult. And with that, she really needs to build up her Rin stacks on someone, and that's how she should really look to maximize her damage. If you were to have a Enchanter support, like a really offensive one like Nami or something, maybe Press the Attack would be okay, as you'd be amplifying their damage as well. And with Press the Attack, you also amplify damage to one target. So Press the Attack's not terrible. It does give you access to more damage, but Lethal Tempo is outscaling it in most cases still. And the utility of Lethal Tempo is also very high for Kalista, as it can also function as a laning tool. Whenever you auto attack or Q the enemy, then you're going to get the bonus attack speed that can help you either chase them down or control the minion wave, depending on the lane state. With Lethal Tempo, 1.5 seconds after you damage an enemy champion, you gain 40 to 110% attack speed based on your level for 3 seconds, and then attacking a champion extends this effect for 6 seconds, and it's only on a 6-second cooldown. So pretty similar to Hella Blades, it's on a really low cooldown, and once it's up, you just have that more attack speed. And a lot of what Kalista is looking to do is build up Ren stacks, and with her build path too, usually Bork, Hurricane into Bloodthirster, the more auto attacks you're getting off, the more like multiplicable value you're getting, the more passive damage you're getting from Blade of the Rune King, the more lifesteal you're getting from the Vam Scepter plus Bloodthirster plus if you run in runes. And then with Hurricane, the more attack speed you have, potentially the more rune stacks you're building up on targets around the main target that you're hitting. So you can really start like just getting basically unfair amounts of damage off depending on like the position of the enemy. Great rune. For the secondary runes, you have the option of Overheal or Triumph. Overheal's not so bad as you build a lot of lifesteal really early. Kalista's not really a champion who builds double Dorans, but you do get a Vam Scepter like first item. And with that Overheal, excess healing on you becomes a shield for up to 10% of your max health. The shield is built up from 20 to 100% of excess healing from yourself or an ally. So with this, you basically just have more effective health to play with, and it's kind of achieving the same thing Taste of Blood wants to achieve, but a little bit better. As with Overheal, you just start a trade with a shield. With Taste of Blood, you would have to start a trade and then take damage for Taste of Blood to proc. So in a lot of cases, Kalista gets to choose when she's starting to trade with the enemy because of her Q, and then once she lands the Q on the enemy, then she can elect to take an auto, like a 1 or 2 or 3 auto attack trade with the enemy. And if they reciprocate, then if you have the shield, then you're blocking damage from the get-go, and then any damages they actually start dealing to you, you have the lifesteal to deal with that as well. So it becomes a pretty effective laning tool, and come mid to late game, you're still going to be getting value out of it, as it's generally always giving you effective health so long that you can build up the shield through hitting minions. With Triumph, takedowns restore 12% of your missing health and grant you additional 20 gold. I think it really depends on your matchup whether you want to run Overheal or Triumph. If you have like an Enchanter support, Overheal is always going to be better. And if you have a CC support, Triumph may be better, as a CC support like Leona Nautilus is going to help you kill one target so that you actually get the bonus from Triumph to restore your HP, versus having the effective HP from Overheal as the fight would start. So that's that. You do have to think about the matchups before like running either one of these, but if you're looking for a default, I suppose Overheal is going to give you the most value. For the third rune, you have the good options in Alacrity or Bloodline. Alacrity giving you attack speed and Bloodline giving you lifesteal. With Kalista, you do have to be really careful, as you do build a lot of lifesteal already, and Kalista really, really wants attack speed. So like in almost every single case, I think you want Alacrity over Bloodline compared to most ADCs. There might be a few matchups where if the enemy was playing like a bruiser bot lane or something, maybe the lifesteal would be giving you a bit better value, as your support would enact to like interrupt them once they jump on you, and then your turn against them would potentially make you healthier and then withstand their lethal. But in most cases, man, like you want the attack speed, as the attack speed on Kalista is not only just getting more auto attacks off on the enemy, it's also giving you more distance away from the enemy in combination with lethal tempo. The more auto attacks you have, the faster you can get away from an enemy that's trying to chase onto you. So it's a very, very valuable thing for Kalista to have. For the fourth rune, you have good options in Coup de Grace or Cutdown. Kalista is one of the better users of Cutdown, especially in the AD carry role. Most AD carries don't get good values out of Cutdown, as they have higher amounts of health, but Kalista has really low amounts of health, and with Cutdown, you deal 5 to 15% more damage to champions based on how much more maximum health they have than you. Bonus damage scales up linearly against enemies with 10 to 100% more max health than you. So if you're playing into Nautilus, Leona, Tahm Kench, Alistar, Ornn, Sion, Zac, any Cinderhulk user, any tank champion, really consider running Cutdown, as a lot of what you're doing is like building up lethal tempo and then just wailing on them, and then the damage that you're dealing to them is just increased. And a lot of what Kalista has to do is get through the front line first before she can access the back line, just how the champion functions. So Cutdown's a really, really valuable rune when you're playing into the champions that it's good into, which is tank champions. With Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions who are below 40% health. This rune's okay, and if you're not playing against tanks, go ahead and run it, as it's going to be giving you better values whenever you're just hitting like a squishy enemy support or the enemy ADC, a mid laner like Syndra or something. Yeah, basically every other champion in the game other than tanks, Coup de Grace is going to be giving you more damage value than Cutdown would be. So that's that. for the secondary runes. You might be tempted still to go into the Domination tree second, get something like Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter, but with Sudden Impact, you do make use of the Lethality and Magic Pin because of her W passive, but it's really not necessary, and the extra damage it adds isn't that crazy. The extra lethality only lasts for 5 seconds, and that's every time you jump, so the cooldown is like all over the place. And with Ravenous Hunter, again, you're healing for a percentage of damage off your abilities. That's your Q and your E. It's really not that much. So I think you're better off going into the Sorcery Tree and then having Nimbus Cloak and Gathering Storm. Big surprise. Like every AD carry loves this in Season 10. With Nimbus Cloak, after you cast a Summoner spell, you gain bonus movement speed for 2.5 seconds and the ability to pass through units. The movement speed increase is based on the cooldown of the Summoner spells that you cast. So if you cast Heal, it's going to make you kind of fast, but then if you cast Flash, then it's going to make you really fast. And with Nimbus Cloak, for Kalista, it becomes a lot more valuable as once enemy champions that dive are on top of her, it's really, really important that she can just run away. As if you slow Kalista, if you slow her, then Kalista is effectively like CC. She doesn't even have to be stunned. But with Nimbus Cloak, it's going to give you the extra movement speed to get away from targets. And once you're just at a little bit of distance from them, then you can start to turn onto them and then deal damage. But if they're on top of you, it's kind of doomed. So Nimbus Cloak is super, super important for Kalista, whether you're running Heal, Barrier, or Cleanse. Like all of them, it's just about getting the enemy off you. And if none of the enemy champions dive onto you, Nimbus Cloak still has the utility of allowing you to get into range or have the extra movement speed to dodge like key skill shots whenever you're trying to chase an enemy down. So think about like Syndra E, Thrush Hook, etc. And with Gathering Storm, it's pretty basic. Every 10 minutes, you gain bonus attack damage. Most games, you're going to be sitting on the plus 14 attack damage at 20 minutes, and that's completely fine. The reason you want this over Absolute Focus is that with Absolute Focus, you have to be above 70% HP, which you're not going to be all the time, especially whenever you're fighting. And then the bonus AD that you get from it is based on your level. AD carries don't get the most levels in the game, not even close. So there's brief windows in which Absolute Focus is going to be giving you more AD than Gathering Storm would be, but past 20 minutes, Gathering Storm is basically always beating Absolute Focus in terms of the AD offered, and then past 30 minutes, it's not even close. So that's that. If you are playing into a lot of AP champions, it's perfectly fine to run Nullifying Orb as well. It's just like an extra amount of tankiness that you otherwise couldn't get. So if you're playing into Syndra bot lane or just 4 AP champions in general, Teemo top, Karthus jungle, Syndra mid, Rumble support, I don't know, man. Like a lot of AP, then Nullifying Orb is going to be giving you pretty solid value, especially where Kalista has so much lifesteal. Nullifying Orb, whenever you take magic damage that would reduce your health below 30%, you gain a magic damage shield that absorbs magic damage. Go figure. So it's basically like a little hex drinker in the runes. It's so strong. And then for the shards, it's going to be, get this, attack speed, attack damage, and armor. Since you're playing in the bot lane, the armor is going to be more valuable, even if you're playing into an AP matchup where you're going to be taking physical damage from minions and then 2 champions. Even if they are AP champions, you're going to be taking physical damage from their 2 auto attacks, especially where Kalista is so short range. So armor is always going to be your best bet in the bot lane. And then attack damage, as you don't need the extra resistances, and then you're just empowering your auto attack damage. I don't think there's much to explain there. So that's my thoughts on Kalista runes. I think this is your best bet. Something like Inspiration Second doesn't even come close to outweighing the utility of Nimbus Cloak. Like Nimbus Cloak is really what it's all about with the secondary runes. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. And if you're interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends some more, you can check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SawyerNelson. Links in the description. I won't be playing Kalista though. So, so there's that. You hyped or what? Check it out, man.